A lot of entrepreneurs are single. There's numerous reasons for this. In today's video, we're going to cover what are some of the reasons for this, the advantages, disadvantages, etc., etc. And the reason why I know this is because I run an online dating management company, which entails that we take over the dating profiles of entrepreneurs, executives, those kind of people. So a lot of our clientele is that. Also, I have a lot of friends who are entrepreneurs, so I know quite a lot of them, and we're going to discuss a little bit about reasons for this and why this happens and why this might be a good thing and why this potentially might be a bad thing. The topics we're going to cover is the access, circumstances, the benefits and the disadvantages. So let's start and talk about the access. Now, one of the main reasons why entrepreneurs are single is because they are high in conscientiousness. This is like a top or a big five trait, and what this stands for is that they have a strong urge to sacrifice. What this means is that they will often sacrifice social life, they will often sacrifice going to parties, they will sacrifice a lot of things that might put them in a position to meet women more easily, right? If you are a club promoter and that's your job, it's very easy to meet women and it's very easy to get into a relationship. But this doesn't often happen if you're, for example, let's say a tech entrepreneur, you're working at home on your startup, etc., etc. You don't have those opportunities. Point B is that a lot of entrepreneurs just have less time because they spend so much time on their business that the amount of time that they have free is very limited. Also, the ability to go party, for example, is often not there. And the reason for that is that you're dealing with that you might have to get up the next day at an early hour. So sacrificing your sleep is a big sacrifice that a lot of entrepreneurs are not willing to take. Point C is that it's quite unethical to date employees. And some entrepreneurs really struggle with that because a lot of people used to meet through the workplace, and that used to be one of the biggest methods to meet your significant other. But if you're the boss and you start dating your assistant or you start dating a lower level employee, it gets quite frowned upon. You might have issues with that other staff members, things that you give them privileged treatment, etc., etc. So this can be quite a tough situation to be in as an entrepreneur, and if you don't want to come across as immoral or unethical. Point D is that talking to women in shopping malls, which is also a very good strategy to meet women, is kind of frowned upon. Definitely, if you're a successful entrepreneur, you're like in your 30s, you're like in your beginning 40s, etc., etc. You don't want to go to a shopping mall and start talking to random women there and then have the security guard of the shopping mall come up to you and be like, hey, what the hell are you doing? People find this annoying, right? You have a certain image that you have of yourself, that the world around you, you have a certain, it can be very bad for business if you get labeled a certain way. So this is something that a lot of entrepreneurs are staying away from purely because you get a bad reputation. Now, doing this in another city is less complicated, but obviously you don't want to like travel to another city purely to go talk to women in shopping malls, right? So like that access point also kind of gets limited. Point number E is that online dating skills of a lot of entrepreneurs are, let's say, bad. And that's putting it nicely. Often they don't have the time to invest into the dating profile. They don't have time to figure out what is the best way to run online dating, etc., etc. So a lot of people that we get on as clients that are entrepreneurs, their system is just not very good at like getting results from online dating. Second reason why there's a bunch of entrepreneurs that are single is purely due to divorce. A lot of entrepreneurs, they're low in agreeability. This means that they have a lower tolerance towards bullshit, right? So if you have a relationship and the woman starts complaining and bitching, etc., etc., and you already have a boatload of negative drama and stuff going on from your business, having to deal with both of them can be quite challenging. And that's why you see a lot of them opt out and be like, listen, if this is going to be a problem at X, Y, and Z, this is not making sense to me and I'm going through a divorce. So that's also why you see a lot of entrepreneurs that will tend to get divorced purely because they have a disagreeable personality, and that in combination with all the work stress and workload is not going to tend to have like amazing long-lasting relationships. The second point is that due to them putting a lot of time and energy into their business, you often see that they're not the biggest, going to the gym 5 days a week, taking care of their nutrition, etc., etc. So they often neglect looks and also social opportunities due to the focus on their work. That's why you have some entrepreneurs that are worth billions and they are kind of fat, right? Look at Elon Musk. Now, maybe nowadays he's a little bit less fat, but he used to be quite fat. Bill Gates is another prime example. So there's a lot of examples of entrepreneurs that just don't take care of their looks. Now, it's not all bad, because obviously when you are single, it also has some benefits. There's some upsides to not having to take care of somebody and not having somebody in your life. So let's discuss those. The first point is that it's much easier for guys that are non-monogamous to not have like a relationship and be in a marriage. When you are non-monogamous and you tend to like want to have more women around, it can be very beneficial to not have a relationship and a marriage, because you're able to satisfy your needs for multiple women, right? That is easier compared to when you're dealing with a situation where you have to do it in a little bit less ethical ways, for example. Point B is that you will have more options if you're a desired male. So if you not only take care of your money in your business, but you also take care of your looks, etc., your desirability goes up, and by a lot. Therefore, a lot of women will be interested in you. That can make staying with one woman and staying faithful quite challenging. So this is another point that is a benefit to not being in a relationship, is that you can use your desirability to use for pleasurable experiences. Point C is that you will have a lot more flexibility, right? When you are single, you get a lot more flexibility over your life, because you have the ability to travel to different places. You can live in different countries, like all those things that are a lot harder when you're dealing with a family and children. You actually have the reason, you actually have the option to do that. So that's a big benefit of being single as an entrepreneur. Now let's talk about the disadvantages. The biggest disadvantages of being a single entrepreneur is that getting children is a lot harder, and children are amazing for giving purpose to your life and giving purpose to the next 20, 30, 40 years of your life, because at a certain point you're just capped out. And if you don't have children to like kind of make your bloodline go further, you kind of feel like a mess up. A lot of entrepreneurs want to have children, and having children is an amazing thing. Point number B about the disadvantage about being single is that you don't get support. If you have an amazing girlfriend and an amazing wife, that person is really like a strong support element. Now, this obviously that's not the case when your relationship is not healthy and when your wife is not very supportive. But if things are correct and you found a supportive and good partner, they will be able to support you through tough times. They will be able to support your business, support you with with raising the children. There's a lot of supportive tasks that she can take on herself. Point number C is single boredom. When you're single, you can get quite bored. And even if you have a lot of women, like I've been single in parts of my life where I had multiple girlfriends and when I had multiple women in my life, and getting new women was extremely easy. But at a certain point, if you go party constantly and you're hooking up with girl after girl after girl, you don't really find that fulfilling. So that fulfillment you will miss that you can find through having one single partner, or potentially two, right? Point number D is trust. What you see a lot with politicians, for example, is that people don't trust them if they don't have a stable relationship. This is also the case with business. Like if you're like a lone wolf, so to say, somebody who is not in a committed long-term relationship, and you're dealing with business partners and you're dealing with other people, they will find it a little bit weird when you're not married at a certain age. If you're not 40, 45, 50 years old, and they're like, you're trying to make a business deal and they're like, oh, let's go for dinner with the partners, and you have nobody to show up for, or a hooker, or like a short-term girlfriend, they'll be like, what the heck is this guy about, right? So definitely in politics, for example, it's a big staple of like you being a accountable person and a stable person. So that's one of the other downsides that it has to not being in a relationship when you're an entrepreneur. It's like a different look of like the advantages and disadvantages that it has to be single and an entrepreneur at the same time. If you're more interested in finding out what we can do in helping you supporting getting into a relationship, feel free to reach out to us, click in the link in the description, set up a call, and maybe we'll help you out find your next romantic partner. If not, no worries, we have amazing videos on this channel. Hope you subscribe and like and comment, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.